here we are with the Richmond office, sales office of the month. In the past, we've interviewed Russell a few times, so thank you.
Hard to get him off the camera.
So thanks for making yourself available. Look, the consistency of Richmond is the question that everybody keeps on asking. What do you think helps Richmond be so consistent?
The consistency's been built up over a lot of time. Obviously, it's not like it's just sort of happened overnight or anything like that. For a long time there, we were neck and neck with Hockings and things like that. And I think because all of the systems that we have in place are now fine-tuned, but they're still fine-tuned every week. There's, as you know, there's meetings and there's more meetings, and we fine-tune everything. We don't let anybody slip out of particularly in this market, and particularly when things got a bit tougher. The buyers, you had to know who the buyers were. Upstairs we've got whiteboards covered in people, if they've put their hand up at an auction, they've bid, they're on there. And come Monday there's always there's underbidder on that, we'll get them onto this and so forth.
You guys got on board pretty quick with the databases when we sort of, I think it's 6 or 7 years ago now, we did the audit on 13 or 14 databases. And that's constantly changing. We just spoke to Ed about how he communicates with the database. How do you personally communicate with your database?
He's the king of the database, so I'm not even in the same league as that. And then he's relentless. He doesn't stop with it, which is great, and it shows in his results. Look, I tend to be a bit more. Treat people the way I'd like to be treated, and I think if I've got a call every 3 months, which I've got from Marshall White and so forth, always comes at the worst time for me, and I'm a bit like, just get off the phone, whatever. If I want to call you, I'll call you. I tend to do a little bit differently as far as just ring about results. So if there's been a sale, not one of ours in Lambert Street in Richmond or whatever, I'll call the surrounding properties that are on my database and say, hey, are you familiar with this sale that's just taken place? If it's not one of mine and it's not a good result, I might sort of say, it wasn't a great result.
The other thing which is, I think, fantastic for your office, 4 auctioneers within the office. And strangely enough, a lot of auctions and a lot of activity. How do you manage that dynamic within the office?
Where the auction, I mean, it's non-stop. You've seen on Saturday, it's relentless. I think the 4 auctioneers is great because it depends how you use it. A lot of the time, certainly myself and Claire are using it in the fact that, and Claire will pipe up and say it's great to have the person who's doing the opens doing the auctions, because when we're calling, we know who we're dealing with. In other instances, on probably trickier properties, I'll certainly use Russell as the auctioneer as well. He'll pump up my tyres, I pump up his, and we've got that third wheel in there to negotiate and get things across the line come auction day.
The Richmond market, it's been a bit quieter everywhere. I mean, clearance rates are great, but less stock. How's it shaping up for spring?
It's shaping up well. I don't know. I'm hoping it's shaping up well. Richmond, we're blessed in the fact that Richmond market seems to be the last one to be hit when things go bad, and it seems to be the first one to sort of start to take off when things are on the mend. Start of the year was ordinary up until about January, February. February up to late June, we've certainly had things, it's been going like that, and it's been great. Have noticed in the last sort of 6 weeks that the quantity of buyers out there is fewer, and we're really having to track the buyers and moving from one to the next, like I said before. What's spring going to do? Fingers crossed. The interest rate's down, so hopefully that'll spur things along.
Yeah, the investors will be happy.
Well, the investors are back out. That's the first time. The investors have been out of Richmond for 18 months to a large degree. But they're hopefully spring turns this around and we see a bit more growth happening.
There's got to be a positive somewhere, doesn't there? There has to be.
There has to be.
One of the great things that you guys do, and I've sat in on a couple of them, you'll sit down on a weekly basis and discuss a topic and how you're all going to handle that and answer it. Any advice for the officers on how they can implement that?
Just that we have 2 meetings a week, every week. So we have a Monday sales meeting at 9 o'clock on a Monday, and we have a Friday, which is really to go through what's happened on the weekend. We then have the Friday meeting, which is to go through what's happening the next day, which buyers we have, where people are going to be situated, all that sort of thing. We're also implementing a Tuesday meeting, which Russell's been behind, as far as if we're coming up against issues when we're in vals and things like that, or we're coming up against resistance from buyers or anything like that. And it's an open forum in which everyone gets to say, well, yeah, this is what I've come across and this is how I'm dealing with it.
For all the guys listening today, your personal feedback on what you think are the non-negotiables, on what should be touched on per week and how things should happen within the office?
Non-negotiable, sorry.
The meetings is a good example. Your meetings, you're doing 3 to 4 meetings per week. They're short, they're sharp.
Yeah.
And you're leading people on the types of answers they should be giving.
The good part about our team is there's a lot of experience within the room. So it's not just one person that's generally running that. It's everyone's input, and on each occasion, I rarely walk out of there not picking up something or fine-tuning something. Maybe just a little thing, but you hear of how somebody's addressed something like that, and you adopt it or modify it for your own.
Yeah.
And they all do that.
Russell and I were talking about it before. The feeling you get when you walk into this office, it has a positive air. You're all having fun.
Scared. Yeah.
But that's a byproduct of there's a lot of business going through, and it takes a while to get there. As you said, it's been built up over the last 20 years.
Yeah.
So where to from here for Richmond, do you think?
Continued growth. We've got the market share at the moment. That's always a little bit scary in the fact that when when you're aiming to be the market leader, you've got the goal. When you are the market leader, you want to make sure you stay that way.
Yeah.
So and that's high. We don't want to let anyone else get their foothold into the area, and they shouldn't, because really the teams that are with the other agencies in Richmond, they don't have they're either failed agents that have been here and left, and we know what they're like, or they're new to the area, things like that.
It's a good point, actually. You guys have been terrific on turning someone over if they don't fit into the team.
Very few though. Being involved with Noel Jones before this, some 16, 17 years ago, and Morley's before that, there was this very high turnover, and there is still locally where people get in. I think it's all about the big cars and nice lunches, which is a load of rubbish, as we know. But they do turn them over a lot. So we're pretty specific with who we are hiring. We're trying now more so to have, I guess, the PA or the junior salespeople groomed into senior roles. And Sam is a perfect example. Sam was my PA for 3 years, and she's brilliant. And she's going to be one to watch out for in the local market.
Yeah, she's doing a great job. All reports are fantastic.
Yeah, awesome.
And in closing, the block, how was it?
Chaotic. Once again, Russell and Sam more so on that side of things. Look, it was good. I think it was good PR for the company.
And certainly our kids.
And certainly for Heart Kids. I mean, that was terrific. Getting the buyers through there and having buyers on 1 of 5 of the exact same apartments. I mean, if we had a developer who said they want to sell 5 in a day, what would we say to them? It's not going to happen. Good luck. So all 5 went. Very annoyed to be $4,000 off, because I think when it was all being shot, we knew we had to get to 1,605,000.
Yeah, I think everybody felt the tension within Biggin and Scott watching.
As luck would have it, because I was next to the highest bidder, and we pushed her, and she stopped, and we kept pushing her, but we knew we were about 4 off. So, but that's it. It was a good effort, and Russell did a great job. So
less pressure this time compared to a couple of years ago when we did Richmond.
I think it was the eyes were a bit more wide open. It's a big machine that uses everyone to its own advantage. Last time there was very little Biggin and Scott coverage or Heart Kids in the same thing. So we went in there just with the attitude of a normal listing and trying to get the best result, and we did.
It was a great job. You did us all proud.
They're all happy, so it's all good.
Yeah, fantastic. Thanks, mate. Thanks for taking the time out to discuss what's happening in Richmond.
Pleasure.
And we'll see you soon, no doubt.
Absolutely. Done.
Thanks, Andrew.
Thanks, Paul.